Hello, and you're welcome to Sarah Football Extra. My name is Raphael Banaman Kwoti, and in this episode, we seek to analyze Black Stars' performance in their two friendlies with their North American counterparts. So, first and foremost, they played Mexico. In that game, they lost by 2-0 to Mexico, and 2 days later, they played United States of America. They lost that game by 4-0. In the first half, that game was done and dusted by the United States of America. 40 minutes, they had scored Ghana by 4-0. And after the match, there's been a lot of questions, a host of questions that have come up as to how come the playing body put up such a shambolic performance. But in this episode, we'll dissect the issues proper as to how come the Black Stars of Ghana fell to United States of America in their friendly game in Tennessee. So in that particular game that we played against United States of America, Coach Chris Hughton actually shuffled most of the squad. So in the goalkeeper's role, our match against Mexico, he played Larry Satizigi in post, but in the game against United States of America, Abdul Manaf Nuruddin was reposed with confidence to start in post for the senior national team, the Black Stars. Then there were a host of notable changes where he had Mohamed Kudus playing, Inaki Williams, Jordan Ayew, Nicolas Opoku, Thomas Partey were also playing for the Black Stars. So a host of people felt that it was an opportunity for Chris Hughton to test most of these boys, because on the backdrop of losing to Mexico, he said that Mexico were used to the field. Mexico had played consistently on the field on which they played in the Black Stars. So that gave them the superiority ahead of that particular match. Then 2-3 days later against the United States of America, we fell flat and we lost heavily to the United States of America. So there's been a lot of questions that have been asked. I've been asking myself a host of questions as to how come we play shambolic against USA. Chris Hughton has managed close to 7 games for the Black Stars, and in these 7 games, I started to think that there hasn't been a game where I've seen a coach's imprint with the side. There hasn't been a game where Black Stars has dominated affairs from start to finish, or probably portions of the game where you would say that, yes, this is the Black Stars playing, this is the Black Stars of old. Because when you look at the Black Stars play, there is no clear-cut pattern, there is no clear-cut rhythm to how the boys play. There is no sort of imposition to how these guys would want to build from the back through the middle, or even when they want to play from the flanks. I mean, there is nothing of a sort that shows that these guys are playing a pattern of football that anybody will see an imprint of the coach's impact on the team. And when the boys play, you would ask yourself what they learn in training. When they go for these training sessions, they say they are doing tactical training. But, I mean, when they play in matches, you don't see any tactical influence from the coach's perspective or the technical team. You don't see any sort of technicality with which the side play. And in 7 games that Chris Hughton and his technical team have superintended over this side, I mean, it leaves a lot of room for doubt and question as to whether he's still the main man for the senior national team. In the post-match conference, he accepted a lot of blame and responsibility for how the team has played very abysmal in their 2 friendly games against Mexico and as well as United States of America. He accepted blame and said that he's looking to improve the team. But a lot of questions have been also asked as to whether there is a lot of room for experimentation, because Black Stars are just 2 or 3 months away from the AFCON, which will be staged in Ivory Coast. And people are asking whether, with the way these guys play, I mean, what is there for us? Because once you take over a team, yes, there is not much of a time for any national team coach to have some sort of imprint on any side. No doubt about that, because most of these players are playing with their top sides in Europe and beyond. So they only come, they probably do a couple of training sessions, then they are into playing football fixtures for their national team. So the coaches mainly have less or no time to even have some sort of impact on this team. But Chris Hilton, I mean, I feel time is running over for him. He needs to stamp his authority down if he wants to make sure that he stays long and hard in this job, because from the things I'm seeing and the things I've seen the Black Stars play in their last few games, I mean, I've not been particularly impressed with how they've played. Then again, I move to their playing body. Sometimes I ask myself that if a coach is unable to give his best output, what happens to the players themselves? Because when you look at the Black Stars side, if anybody tells you that this current crop of Black Stars players do not have quality, or we don't have quality within the rank and file of the Black Stars, I mean, the person would be lying to you. Because off the top of my head, I could name Thomas Partey, who plays for Arsenal in the English Premiership. You have Kamaldeen Suleiman, he also plays for Southampton. Mohamed Kudus, he recently transferred from Ajax, he plays for West Ham United. You have a host of players. Jordan Ayew, he's in there. You have Mohamed Salisu, who is currently injured, plays for Monaco. Alexander Jiku, even though he's injured, plays for Fenerbahce. Daniel Amate, also injured, plays for Besiktas. We have a host of players who are playing in top leagues in Europe. So when you look at all these guys I've mentioned, as well as other players, you ask yourself whether when they come playing for the senior national team, the Black Stars, what does it mean for them to play? Because sometimes it looks as if they are playing or they are being forced to play, because you look at these boys and there's no team cohesion, there is no aggression to how they play, there is no consistency to how they play. You ask yourself whether the passion for playing for the Black Stars, where is it? You ask yourself whether when other sides, like to say a player from Brazil, South America, Brazil, gets a national team call-up, the way it means for these guys to represent their nation. You ask yourself whether players, when they end the national team call-up to play for Ghana, I mean, it also means the same for them. Because sometimes I tend to ask myself whether they are being forced to play for Ghana, or they feel that it's some sort of merit that so far as they are playing for their teams consistently, they will be handed over the call-ups. But I mean, we have to move on from the time where, yes, players are playing in top leagues, but they come down to play for Ghana and they are not able to churn out the same consistent performance like they are doing for their clubs with their national team. I mean, there is a host of questions we need to ask as to the commitment levels of most of these players when they are playing for Ghana, and their commitment levels when they are playing for their club side. So you look at how these guys play in the game against United States of America. I felt as if there is no cohesion, there is no telepathic play with these guys, there is no synergy. The energy levels with which they were playing, I mean, it was just on the low. I mean, the commitment levels was just on the low. They couldn't string multiple passes. I mean, sometimes you ask yourself a host of questions, but I feel that the coaching or the technical team have a role to play. The playing body also have a role to play, as well as external influences like the Ghana Football Association also, they have a role to play in order to make sure that the best, nothing but the best players who are playing with top leagues will be given the opportunity. Because once you call a player to play for the senior national team, the Black Stars, the idea is that they merit a call-up. The idea is that you'll be able to fill into the shoes of other players that are not playing because of an injury or suspension. They'll be able to fit perfectly into that role. Because look at our back line. You have Mohamed Salisu, who is injured, Jiku is injured, you have a player like Daniel Amate who is injured. These are our backline. And when you call players like Joseph Eidu, Steve Ambrosius, you have a player like Jerome Opoku, Nicolas Opoku. When you call these guys, you're expecting that once they come into the fray of the senior national team, the Black Stars, they will either play beyond their energy levels or play beyond their weight levels for the senior national team. But when they come, you don't see these things. So where do we go from this? How do we patch up the pieces? How do we pick up the pieces from a shambolic performance, our shambolic friendly games we played against Mexico, as well as United States of America? I feel that we have less than 2-3 months to adequately perform and also make sure that we do well. I feel the coaching staff need to get and stamp their authority on the side. Coach Chris Hughton, I mean, if you know Chris Hughton, he plays with a side that are very difficult to break down. He plays with a side that are very defensively resolute in defense. And when it comes to attack, I mean, we have the attacking quartet. We have attacking players within the senior national team, the Black Stars. Once we are able to do or provide a formidable formation and tactics to get the best out of these guys, I feel we are on the road to recovery. We are on the road to making sure that we rub shoulders with the likes of Algeria, Senegal, Morocco, Cameroon, Ivory Coast. But for now, the sort of play we are playing currently, I mean, we are not even to that level. One thing I also want to put across is the fact that, I mean, our side or our team has gaping holes, and once it's fixed, yes, we can also rub shoulders. But the problem is that I don't want X to let that sort of expectations where we feel as though, yes, we've arrived. No, this team rides from our AFCON 2 years ago. We fall short, losing a host of games. Then, when you look at some of our qualifiers too, I mean, we're just topsy-turvy in our results, because in 5 games, Ghana had actually won 2 games in that regard. We had won 2 games. We won against Angola, as well as Central African Republic drew to Angola in their away game, and also we drew away to Madagascar. And it's not really spoken much volumes of us, but I feel that if, as a football nation, we want to progress in our remit to rub shoulders with the very best on the African continent, there are a host of things we need to do. We need to come back to the drawing board and make sure that we are serving football. There should be the blueprint, there should be that development plan for the senior national team. There should be that grassroots football where there's that progression from the under 17 to 2023, then to the senior national team. We call players who merit call-ups, not call-ups where we are favoring people because they are associated with one person or the other. We need to call people who are up and doing, people who are ready to die for the cause, people who are committed to the action, people who are also passionate about wearing the senior national team, the Black Stars, who are ready to die for the senior national team, the Black Stars. And I feel once we do that, I mean, the sky is just the starting point of our success. Chris Hughton, I mean, he's a fine gentleman in the senior national team, the Black Stars. I feel we need to give him time. Yes, I mean, we've had time where we've sacked coaches. Kwesi Appiah has come and gone. Siki Akono has come and gone. Milo has come and gone. But Chris Hughton, I mean, he needs to make sure that he stamps his authority on this side and gets the results right for us. Because if not, I mean, he'll be showing the exit door like his predecessor. So on this note, that's why I draw down the curtains on my assessment of our outing against Mexico, as well as the United States of America, and what we need to do with the senior national team, the Black Stars, in our lead up to AFCON 2024, which will be staged in Ivory Coast next year. So that is where I draw down the curtains on today's episode. If you haven't subscribed to the channel as yet, please do so to subscribe to the channel. My name is Raphael Banamankwate. Keep up alive with sports.